Alrighty, June 2nd. We are on our way to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and then on to Lakewood, New Jersey. Delivering that guy right there to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And this guy here, we're going to take to Lakewood, New Jersey. Now, 30-foot Class A and a little Sprinter van type scenario. Going to touch base on a few different things here today. What do I do as far as driving and mileage and calculating to make sure I have a quarter tank at my destination is the key, because one of our requirements, sorry, putting you in the sunlight, one of our requirements is to do the quarter tank at destination. So to do that, or how I do it, and there's several ways of doing this. Talk to a couple of different people doing this, and the way I do it happens to be is I fill up the tank. First of all, I try not to take anything that's less than 500 miles. So I fill up the tank so I know that it's going to cover the distance I need to go. That Class A tells me it'll go 545 miles on a full tank. The Sprinter van will do 315 or 25. I can't remember what she said. But so a lot of people say, okay, you just take that and divide it by 4, and there's what your quarter tanks are going to be at, but you can go in mileage for quarter tanks. Well, that's not true, because if you stop where the nozzle clicks first, you are full, but yet you may have been full for the last 4 gallons. Well, that 4 gallons on the big one is 32 miles. On this one here is 48 miles. So no, that's where your calculations would be off, because it held a little bit more than what was full. I wait until I get to 3/4 mark, and then I write down real quick what my miles to E is on 3/4, and then I write down what my miles to E is on a half, and then I write down what my miles to E is on a quarter. And now I know where it will be at for a good range between that quarter and 3/4, which will tell me. Now, cut through all the chit chat and calculations and bull crap and blah blah blah, the Sprinter vans, I've been doing an average of anywhere between 11 and 14 miles to the gallon without a tow car hooked up to it. The Class A's, I don't know what they do without the tow car, but with the tow car has been between 8 and 9 miles to the gallon. The Class C's, the true Class C's, the Chateaus and things like that, have been doing also between 8 and 10. I'll add an extra mile right there per mile, so miles per gallon. So there's your calculations of what the miles per gallon is that I did all the figuring of. And between empty and a quarter tank Sprinter vans, this one here, now I'm leaving out the Mercedes because it's diesel, because it has a different calculation, but most of the gas ones have been doing right about 80 to 90 miles to the gallon to the quarter tank. The Class C's have been doing about 100, and then I run into the Class A has been doing 125. Now this is all gas vehicles, so that's where we're standing at as far as those are concerned. Sorry for the background noise. I hope I'm speaking loud enough for this. I know it's going to show up on the video, but I only have certain places I can do videos, and it does get noisy. So hopefully you can hear me. So there's that. There's the touch base on that part. And real simple, what I usually do, I do one of two different things. I fill up the tank, I see how much it tells me it's going to go. The Class A told me 545 miles, and I've got to go a little over 700. So as soon as it gets down to 200 miles, I can fill it up and it'll be empty. But if I wait until it gets down to 300 miles, or right about where I've used 300 miles to E, so in other words leaving at 200 miles to E, no, I should be able to fill it up and it be sitting right near the quarter tank. Sometimes I'll go a little extra just to help out on that, just to give me a little cushion. So that's how I do my calculations, is I do the minusing and plusing between the miles and the distance, and then that's when I fill it up. Now I have gone and said, okay, it takes this much, and I get all the way down to a half a tank, and I'm like, okay, I gotta make sure I've got enough. This is how long it goes from half a tank to the distance. Then I add 80 miles, let's say for that Sprinter van, 80 miles to it, or for the Class A, I add 125 miles to it, and I know that's where I need to fill up to. So I have enough to make it to the distance. I know I'm not making a lot of sense here because I'm talking without me looking at notes or looking at a graph or anything to that effect, so it's hard for me to explain sometimes, and I jump around, and I apologize. But you get the gist, hopefully, or the organization of it, hopefully. Another thing I'm going to touch bases on paperwork, and I'm going to go inside and set up paperwork so I can actually do a demonstration of paperwork that you turn in, paperwork that you deal with, and how you deal with it. But one of the things I want to touch base back on the fuel. If you overfill it, and let's say you turn it in and it's got between a quarter tank and a half a tank, it may cost you $40, it may cost you $25, it may cost you 50 bucks. Here's my question. Is that money worth it than you pulling up and the guy coming out and saying it's too empty or it's below a quarter tank, you have to go back and fill it up? Now you have to actually sit and play with it and get it to be exactly where you want it to be, and you got to go do that. Sometimes you've got to drive 10 miles to the closest gas station. So that's all up to you. That's where you got to really calculate what you're doing. All right, so if you come across and put the amount in there that you think it should be and then add a little, hey, you're only making yourself safe. And if it's a trip over 500 miles, you're making money. Yes, I know gas prices are up and people are not making as much money. You're still making money. I'm not going to get into June's update, but I can tell you right now, June, we made only around 50 to 52% profit for the money that we turned. So literally, no, yeah, it's biting into us. Where we were making, no, 65 to 70% profit, now we're only making 50 to 52. Other than that, I'm leaving that out. All right, get into the paperwork now. Let's stop this. And all right, when you get in a unit, you pick up a packet like this that's inside the unit. Okay, it's in plastic, has what's called the DAF, delivery acceptance form. Yes, I put post-its over some of the information so that way it can be noticed. And then there's a white envelope that has information in it for the dealer also. So that's what's inside the unit. But before you get to the unit, you have to go into the office and print out your paperwork. And that's where you come in and print out this paperwork, which happens to be the bill of lading. That guy right there. What I call the ICDA form, which is Independent Contractors Drivers Agreement. The yard exit form, release form. On certain units, there will be an inspection form that you have to go down and check marks and things like that. And by the way, the DAF that I was showing you is also the same thing. It's another check form that you have to go down and check. Then you also have a cover sheet for your tolls and things like that. Then you have a directions of exactly streets you're going to take and different points there. Now, when I get all this stuff, I go through and I fill out the forms I need to fill out, take pictures of all the forms I need to take pictures of, and then I sort it by what I need to turn into a dealer. So in other words, what goes to the dealer is just those two pieces right there. In this case, sometimes there's more than that. However, in this case, it's just these two. So that will get put aside. This will go inside my binder here, which is right here, San Francisco 49ers. And along with my receipts, this is my fuel receipts here. And then my other receipts for gas, not gas, but food and hotels or anything I stay at, whatever, wherever we stay at. And that's what goes in there. And that's pretty much it. Now, this booklet is pretty basic. It has all this information here, driver's license, passport, all the information, my driver's license, passport, and then my insurance. Then there's some inspection stuff that's in here. There's some permits. That's what I was looking for, the word permits. There's permits there, and there's several different permits. And then there's a weight sheet that tallies exactly how much weight the car weighs, which is 3,300 pounds, and all with it full of fuel. And then there's telephone numbers, all kinds of different things. There's a driver's logbook, so that way you have a physical logbook. I have a folder that holds other receipts and other different things, and then just pens and stuff. So that's what you have as far as organization. Hopefully everything's there that explains certain features, certain paperwork, certain ways to do things. Like I said, if you keep yourself organized, this job is easy. It's not for everybody. There's a lot of people don't like traveling as much as I'm traveling. Hey, okay, do it very, very seldom. No, when I say very seldom, do 1 trip a month, and that way it won't be so bad. But yeah, so there's a lot to this, and I think it still pays well. So pays adequately, and I get to see America, and I get paid to see it. So literally, where could I go wrong? There's a lot of things I could say here, but I'm not going to. Just understand this. This was just a tutorial over how fuel and paperwork gets dealt with, receipts get dealt with. I use QuickBooks, so therefore as soon as I go to put them in QuickBooks, I put the receipts in a box, a shoe box, and they sit aside. I never pull them back out, and usually within the next 2 years I will throw that shoe box away. That's simple as that. But if I ever get audited, I do have the receipts. Here you go, here's what I've got. But yeah, QuickBooks allows me to take a photocopy of them, so therefore it's even got a photocopy of the receipt when I turn it over to a CPA. The only other thing to do is keep track of what you spend for this job or for the travels, and that's all write-off and tax write-offs. So oil changes to the car, purchase of the car was for this job, so therefore it's even a write-off. The oil changes, getting an extra key fob for it, no, because we only had one, so that way Dawn had one, I have one. Those scenarios, that's where we're at. I think that should do it. Peace, love, and jelly beans. See you on the road sometime. And I always forget to say, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the like button or dislike button. I'm good with either way. Criticism is always nice. If you hit dislike, say why you disliked it. I'm cool with that, and we'll go from there. Let's see here, what else is there? Oh, and that little bell thing to tell you whenever I do an update or whenever I post something new. There you go. Peace, love, and jelly beans, people.